Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to teach you the basic fundamentals of JavaScript. They are variables, functions, arrays, objects, and nodes. So without any delay, let's get started. Variables in JavaScript are the containers in order to store the values in the memory. In other languages like C, Java, and C++, you need data types in order to specify the data what you are storing in the variable. But in JavaScript, you don't need all those things. You just need any one of the three keywords. They are var, let, and const. With these three keywords, we can create the variables and we can use them in our program. Let me demonstrate you how to use a var keyword. So in order to create a variable, var x equal to 10. If I console x, the value of x, which is 10, will be printed. Not only numbers, you can store a floating point numbers and even a double number. Not only numbers, you can store the characters and even the strings, and even the boolean values such as true and false. Same as where you can do this with the let also. Let's say there is a value 10 and you can use the keyword let in order to store 10 in a variable x. The const keyword is slightly different compared to the var and let. In case of var and let, you can declare a variable and you can assign a value later sometime in the program. But when it comes to the const, you must assign a value when it is declared, or else you will get a syntax error. And in const, you can't change or modify the value of a variable. It will show you on a type error. So the functions ensures the reusability of the code. So in order to create a function, you must need a keyword function followed by a function name and parentheses and the curly braces. So the code what you are writing should be between these curly braces. Let's say I just want to console.log. This is a demo function. So the function has been created, but in order to execute this, you must call the function. So the function call will call the function what we have written in the code and will execute the code what we have written inside the curly braces. This is a basic function. Let's write the function with the parameters and the arguments. The function sum, which will take two parameters and it will return the sum of the two numbers. If I give the values 5, 6, so the function call will send the numbers 5 and 6 to this function and the function will return the sum of a plus b. So the value will be returned to this function again, and let's store the value in some variable x. Console.log x. The value 11 will be printed. Another type of function is anonymous function. So it can be achieved like this. Let demo is equal to function console.log. This is anonymous anonymous function. Let me call the function demo. This is an anonymous function. In the same way, we have a special function which is introduced in the ES6, that is arrow function. It works the same. So our third concept is arrays. In JavaScript, arrays are used to store multiple values under a single variable name. So let me create an array. Let fruits equal to apple, banana, and orange. In order to access the array elements, console log, you must specify the array name followed by its index. The array's index starts from 0. So the apple will have an index number 0, the banana will have 1, and the orange will have 2. One will be banana, 2 will be orange. In order to change the value, array name index is equal to the value you want to change. Let's say I just want to change the value from banana to lemon. I can do this. If I console.log, the lemon will be printed. In order to print all the elements in an array, can use fruits. So the lemon will be there in index 1. Fruits dot of 0 is equal to apple. Apple. The value of apple change it to pineapple. In order to add the elements, we can use push operator and we can push the value apple. So the apple will be added at the last with an index 3. Or else you can remove the elements using pop operator, pop method. So the apple is eliminated. So if you want to add the elements at the beginning, you can use unshift method and add the elements at the beginning. So the apple is added at the beginning, and you can remove the elements from the beginning using shift. So the lemon is removed once again. So this is how you can work with the arrays. So these are the basic concepts and the basic properties that you can work with the arrays. So the next concept is objects. So in JavaScript, objects are used to store collection of data and more complex entities. They consist of key value pairs. And let me demonstrate you with an example. Let's say there is a student with a name John, age 12. The key value pair should be separated by the commas. And you can store Boolean values too. And even the functions. In order to access the values of a student object, we can use dot operator or the bracket notation. So if I want the name to be printed, I can simply write console.log student dot name. So the name in the object student will be printed in our console. If I want age will be printed. So this can be done with the bracket notation age, same as the dot operator. If I want to access the function, I can simply write student dot is reading. So the value in the function is reading will be printed. If I want to add particular value, let's say student dot marks is equal to, let's say, 90. And if I print the object, so here you can see the marks has been added to our object. In order to delete a value, you can use a delete keyword and specifying the variable what you want to delete is students. So here we can see the updated object and the student key value pair is deleted. The last concept is loops. In JavaScript, loops are used to execute a block of code repeatedly up to some condition. So let me demonstrate you the loops. What are there in JavaScript? The first one is for loop. Let I is equal to 0, I less than 5, and I plus this. So no, I. So the values from 0 to the 4 will be printed. So this part is the initialization, and this is the condition, and this is the updation. So the initialized, where the I is initialized with the value 0. For every iteration, the I value will be incremented by 1. So the for loop continues till the I value is less than 5. And the execution will be stopped once the I value becomes 5. Until then, the I value will be printed in our console 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This can be achieved using while loop, but here the initialization should be given before the loop is equal to 0. And within the parentheses, you should give the condition I less than 5. And here the code, the other 5, and the operation. So you can see we got the same output as the for loop executed. But the advantage with the while loop is when you know the condition where the iteration should be stopped, then you can proceed with the while loop. Whereas if you know how many iterations should be done, then you can go with the for loop. So the dual is same as the while loop. So the initialization should be given before the loop, and the syntax will be look like this. I is less than 5. So console dot log of I and I plus plus. So the values will be printed. But the main difference between the while loop and do while loop is in while loop, for example, if I is less than 0, then console.log of I and I plus plus. This loop won't be executed because the I value is 0 and the condition is I less than or equals. But whereas in do while, let me change the condition to I less than 0. So the loop will be executed once because at first, so the control will print the I first, then increment the I value, and then it will check the condition. But whereas in while, at first it will check the condition, then only it will print the values. So this is the main difference between the while and do while.